Hey everybody, welcome to our fourth and final video on our Hero's Journey and Playwriting series. This one is all about characters and relationships. As we start this video, I really want to encourage you to have started that rough draft. Make sure you're somewhere in that process before you kind of start and really engage with this video. If you're not there yet, go ahead and pause this video. That's okay. If you are there, you've completed half of your rough draft or even more maybe, congrats. Getting words on page is the hardest thing that you will do. Just keep doing it, keep going. Now, this one is going to help you kind of inform your characters and your relationships a little bit more. Now, let's try a few things that are going to help us start to think about our characters and our relationships in maybe some new ways, or maybe some ways that we just need some reminders on. First and foremost, you're going to have to find a partner. Again, this could be mom, dad, sibling, whoever. Call them up, get them here. Find somebody, find a partner to talk to. There are lots of ways to share, get creative. I want you to make sure that you and your partner can say the lines of dialogue that you have written down. Hopefully you've typed them up, maybe you can share them. If not, feel free to do that as well. You can also take a picture if it's handwritten as well. But sharing your lines of dialogue, after you do that, I want you to take a moment to say the lines of dialogue out loud with your partner. If you happen to have more than one partner, have both your partners read the lines out loud and you just listen. Ask them to think about how it sounds. You think about how it sounds too. If it feels true to life when hearing it, now I'm going to say that again. If it feels true to life when hearing it out loud, you're on the right path. Everybody's true to life is going to feel a little different to them. Some people have a real ear for naturalistic dialogue. Some still learning and still trying to craft that out. Wherever you are, it's just inside you. Do you think people would say those words? Do this with all the lines you've written so far. Maybe limit yourself a little bit if you're finding that you're struggling and going back, but definitely try to make the revisions needed to every line you've written, and then come back to this video. Feel free to pause. Welcome back, everybody. Now, let's jump into some specific character work now that your dialogue has started to feel a little more natural. Alright, this actually means that we're going to get up and move around a little bit. So, go ahead and place this video somewhere where you can hear it. Seeing me is not necessarily the most important aspect right now, but make sure you can hear it. And we're going to get up and start to move around a little bit. As you're doing this, I want to remind you of the 4 writing tips that we talked about in the last video. Exposition, subtext, logic, and true to life. Just have those words in your brain as you're thinking through all of these exercises and all of your writings. Exposition, subtext, logic, and true to life. So as you're up and around your room now and you're kind of moving about the space, we're going to have you meander about the room. If you're not aware of what meandering about the room is, that's where you just move about the room with no intent or purpose. We're not walking in a circle, we're not following anyone, we're not bumping into things intentionally, we're just moving in an undetermined pattern. We're walking in what we call actor neutral, which is our arms at our sides, our bodies up nice and tall. We're not on tiptoes, we're just up nice and tall. We're just meandering about the room. And I'm going to ask you to transform into a character. You're moving about the room, you're moving about the space right now, and you can hear my voice. And I'm going to ask you to transform into a character. And as I do so, I want you to think of who that character is, how they are feeling, what it's like to be them, how they would talk, what word choices would they use, why they are the way they are, and what little details can you think of that makes them them. I'm going to give you 4 different suggestions, and I'm going to give a little bit of a break in what I'm doing here to allow you to pause and start and stop this video as needed so you can explore through. I'm going to talk you through a little bit, but if you need to pause, if you're not quite done exploring, feel free to pause. First things first, I want you to transform into an ancient witch or wizard. This could be the mentor character that you've been thinking of in your play. It could not be. But you're an ancient witch or wizard. And think about how they move. How their pace is really going to influence what you're doing. Are they a little bit slower? Are they a little bit older? Are they a little bit more thoughtful? Do they think carefully as they're speaking? Does this affect how they move their arms and their legs? Do they maybe have something they walk with that aids them? Think about how their posture is. Are they a little bit more proud of who they are? Are they grander? Are they not? Are they a little bit more shy and interior? Maybe they're more withdrawn from society. You get to make those choices in this specific character that you're working on and walking around and feeling how that feels and really get in there. And I want you to think about now as you're feeling that with your body, thinking about who these characters are, what their name is, how old they are, how they feel about things. Start to speak and interact. Before, go find someone you can interact with as this character. Maybe see how they respond to you. Keep those dialogues in your brain. I'm going to have you do the same thing again after you release this character. So release. Meander, just as yourself. I want you to think of a pirate. Again, how does this pirate walk and talk and move? Feel free, if you need, to pause this video or skip back or ahead at any point. Explore different characters. Right now you're exploring what a pirate walks and talks and moves like. What are their motivations? What are their desires? Do they have any injuries? Are they the captain? Are they the crew? How is their context really exploring who they are and how they walk and talk and move? Explore what it means to be this pirate. Stand up, sit down. Again, if you need to pause to explore longer, pause to explore longer. And release that pirate. Release it. Let it go. Meander about the space. The last one I'm going to have you do is in your brain, the world's greatest dancer. Whatever that means to you. There are all kinds of different forms of dance, but they move in their own unique, different styles of ways. How is this person moving that's different than the movement of the pirate or the witch or wizard? Are they lighter on their feet? Do they move more? Are they faster? Are they slower? How does this affect their age? Maybe they've been a dancer for a long time. Maybe they're brand new to being the world's greatest dancer. Do they like working with a partner, working by themselves? What style of dance are they doing? You get to make all these choices. Physically embody this. As you're doing this, I want you to think of exploring this character vocally as well. We should have done this with the witch and the wizard and the pirate, and now we're doing this with the dancer as well. Think about how the person would talk. Does this person talk and speak differently than the pirate or the wizard? Keep moving about the room as this dancer. How do they act differently? How does it affect their actions, their words, what they're doing? And go ahead and you can release that character, and you can come back and take a seat and be watching this video one more time. Again, if you're still exploring, pause this, come back, explore some more. Take your time. There's no right or wrong way or amount of time to do this in. Now that we're back, here are some questions for you. How would those characters talk differently from each other? How would they act differently from each other? How do a character's traits be revealed through their dialogue? Does a character announce anything about themselves when they enter a room each time? Do their actions affect their words? I've got one final exercise for you. This one involves a notebook and a pencil, or a computer if that's easier for you. This exercise is going to be about finding the interesting thing about real conversation and real life. The more true to life a conversation is, the more logical it is, and therefore, the more your audience is going to relate to it. That doesn't mean that it's not about something magical. That does mean, or mythical even, that does mean that it's grounded in a sense of real, true conversation that the audience can understand. Go ahead, take a moment, grab something to write with, something to write on. Welcome back. Let's go through this writing prompt. I'm going to give you two characters. Their names are Stephen and Sarah. You can decide most things about Stephen and Sarah. The only thing that I've given you is their name. The next thing that I want you to do is, I want you to write 16 lines of dialogue between Stephen and Sarah. That's 8 lines each. As you're writing this, I want you to keep these things in mind. Stephen and Sarah need to have some form of connection. They need to know each other. This connection should be clear in the lines of dialogue. Also, this connection is ending. So whatever connection they had needs to be broken by the end of the scene. That's it. You get to decide what their relationship is, how much we want to show that relationship, which is hopefully enough for the audience to understand. You get to decide everything else about these characters of Stephen and Sarah. That's the only thing that I'm giving you. Feel free to, in a moment, I will count you down. Pause this video. And when you pause this video, I want you to write these lines in 2 minutes. No more, no less. Try to get all 16 lines of dialogue down in 2 minutes. This video might be giving you some time to think as well, but I'm giving you this time because it's helpful to put yourself in a limitation to get words on page. So, you've got 2 minutes. Pause the video, time yourself, and then come back. All right, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back. Now that you've had a chance to write this scene between Stephen and Sarah, you're not going to be at this video for very long. I've got another challenge for you before we wrap this up finally. So again, get ready to pause this video. But after you listen to some questions, and then I'm going to have you do some actions. Here we go. Here are some questions that I want you to think of as you find someone or someones to read this script aloud, so you can think and hear what it is. If you have to be one of the characters, try reading it twice in both parts so you can hear what the dialogue sounds like. As you're listening, think of this. What is the relationship between Stephen and Sarah? How do we know what this relationship is? If the actors you're reading this with are not familiar with your writing process, ask them that question too. 3. What changed in their dialogue to show that their relationship has changed? Are they treating each other differently? They should be. How do you see that? If you get the answers that you're expecting to get, great. You've done it. You've achieved that in your scene. If you don't get the answers you're expecting for, what can you adjust about your scene to make sure that you get the answers you want? What are ways that you can make it more clear? Finally, you're here. You're at the end of these 4 videos. You have, hopefully, all the tools in your toolbox that you need to create a rough draft. You have the ability. I trust in you. I believe in you. I know you can do it. So go up there and get that rough draft finished. Now, we're calling it a rough draft because you're going to rewrite it. You're going to rewrite it several times as you go through this rehearsal process. Some things have already been rewritten. Maybe they don't sound awkward anymore. Great. Is there something that does? Is there something that doesn't sound real to life? Writing is rewriting. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's the reason we call it a rough draft is because you will make edits on this. Changes while you're rehearsing and changes while you're writing. That's okay. That's all part of creating a play. Feedback is a really good thing. Listen to other people. Let them hear. Let them read. Take some of their ideas as your own. You don't have to take all of them, but take some. Be open to hearing feedback. Your play is never going to be that perfect thing you think it will be in your play, but it will be your best work, and that's all that we can ask. So, by the end of this series and by the end of these weeks, you should hopefully have about a 10-minute-ish play that you have completed. We hope to see you soon, and we hope to see less videos and more in person. But if not, keep working on that play, and you'll see more videos soon from me. So your assignment, finish that play.